Joining us now is State Senator Joe Morrissey. Joe representing District 16. He's a Democrat. We're in Amanda Chase's office. She's a Republican. And Joe also has his own show on the John Fredericks Radio Network, WJFN 100.5 FM. Thank you, Joe. You're the man. WJFNradio.com, the Fighting Joe Morrissey Show. Now we call it the Senator Joe Morrissey Show. And I love Joe today because he comes in and he just gave me two $100 bills. Ben Franklin, having lost the game last night, he took Clemson plus 5.5 and was pretty happy when they were up by 10. He was getting 5.5, but Joe, that's what happens, right? Sometimes you just don't win.
Exactly. Let me just, first of all, John, it's great to be on your show this morning. And folks that are listening out there, here's how the John Fredericks betting protocol works. John bets me and loses. Doubles down for the next game. He loses. He doubles down for the next game. He loses. He doubles down for the next game. And about 4 or 5 doubling down, he finally wins, and he doesn't owe me anything. When John bets me, he calls me up 2 minutes after the game is over, bring in my money. It's a wonderful model.
Very effective strategy.
Yes, it is. And I'm buying into it. Anyway, it's great to be on your show, Amanda. It's great to be with you in the Senate. I remember last year at this time, I was interviewing you on the Fighting Joe Morrissey Show, and we were talking about coal ash and things that were important to folks in Chesterfield County, and that issue was important to me, and now we're working together in the Senate to get those things done. So kudos to both of us, I guess.
Absolutely. Well, it's a pleasure. I have to give a shout out to Senator Morrissey because he is for the coal ash legislation that we worked so hard to put forward. His predecessor initially was not. She turned out being she and I won't mention names today. I'm going to be nice.
Why not? You always mention names.
Yeah, well, part of it, she Senator Surville and I worked very hard on that legislation for 4 years, and his predecessor actually hijacked the bill,
Roz Dance,
and got full credit for it in the final legislation that was passed.
Yeah, but she did get 22% of the vote in the primary.
Joe is for the people.
Yeah, she got 22.
Really
she hijacked the bill and got 22% as a 20-year incumbent and mayor of her town. She got 22%. Oh, 23%? I'm sorry.
30-year incumbent.
Oh,
hey, listen.
30-year incumbent, she got 22%. Joe got 78%. I just want to throw that out there.
After the election, I went by and actually toured the Dominion Energy plant over there, and they have created a state-of-the-art landfill, and they are excavating, removing, not capping, all of that coal ash and putting it into this new landfill, thereby preventing
Is that a good thing?
It's a great thing. Preventing any toxins from getting, into the James River and near the Dutch Gap. So that's a very good thing. Let's talk about, John, what happened yesterday in the Judiciary Committee. Had some gun bills come up there. And there were several bills that were reported out. Here's one bill that troubles me. The red flag laws are, I'm generally in support of them, because somebody that's going through through the throes of a mental health crisis, we don't want them, having access to a gun. But this bill would allow the police to execute a search warrant in somebody's house based on very skeletal information. It really makes me want to put a pause on that aspect of the bill. And
that was Senate Bill 240. That was
this is part of the red flag.
Yeah,
right.
It is it's part of the red flag law. And let me tell you, Second Amendment might be important, but I'll tell you, so is the Fourth Amendment, to be free from unreasonable searches and seizures. And in this particular matter, somebody's house could be searched. The police go in there and they may be looking for a gun. They can search the entire house and come up with whatever. There's potential for mischief. It infringes on individuals' Fourth Amendment rights. I won't support that bill unless it's that aspect is removed.
So if you go in, if somebody has a red flag and they say this person is a danger to someone else or themselves, and of course there's a time period before due process, police go in looking for a gun, they find pot, they find other paraphernalia, they find cash. None of that is admissible. None of that can be taken into consideration. That's what you're advocating.
I'm saying that the police
Because otherwise it becomes a no-knock warrant.
Yeah, well, it's pretty close to that. You go in there, and remember, anybody could say, as Senator Stewart said the other day, something negative about John Fredericks and that he has threatened me. I saw he threatened me with blah, blah, blah. And then get a search warrant is issued by a magistrate. They search your house. They don't find any guns, but they find other things in your castle that are illegal, and then you're arrested on that. No, we've got to put the brakes on that portion of the bill.
Are you concerned at all about the lack of due process?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, if you folks that have listened to the Fighting Joe Morrissey show heard me last year talk about the lack of due process that was afforded Justin Fairfax, and it bothered me immensely. It bothers me immensely that sometimes we get caught up in this position where because somebody makes an allegation, therefore throw the rascal out and then consider the evidence later. No, not under my watch.
And try it in the media. That's outrageous. And
Yeah.
You have had things happen to you. I've had things happen to me. Justin has had things happen to him, and there's no due process at all. You're tried by whatever people hear in the media. They assume it to be correct when it's not always the case. And
here's the thing: it's more titillating, Amanda, sometimes for media and other folks to focus on the titillating things about individuals rather than substantive matters, and it's just easier to do that, and there's no consideration given to the fact that person actually may be innocent. And you gave a few examples a few moments ago, and it's important for us as legislators to make sure that doesn't happen. And I'll stand up for anybody. D and R and independent and libertarian doesn't make any difference. I want to make sure that they're given due process.
You're on the John Fredericks Radio Network, trucking the truth across America. I am your Godzilla of truth. We're live back at the Virginia State Senate. We're in Senator Amanda Chase's office, Republican. We're also with Democratic State Senator Joe Morrissey. We're going to go right through the bottom of the hour because both of their time is valuable. We got to get to a lot of issues, and we want to thank everybody for joining us today, and we want to thank the State Senate and Amanda for inviting us back in and allowing us to do our show here in the State Senate after they kicked us out. Let's get to Senator Morrissey. Boy, there's a lot of other things coming up here besides guns. We've talked about that all day. I want to get to a couple of them. And let's start with gambling. We have casino gambling and bookmaking gambling coming down the pike. I want to start with casinos. We have a couple of conflicting things. Yesterday, the Pamunkey Indians got the deal with the city of Norfolk to build a casino. That's number one. Number two,
they haven't gotten the deal with the state.
Yeah, they just have the deal with the city to build one if they get a license.
Correct.
Then we've got Colonial Downs and Rosie's, which has invested $300 million in Virginia to bring horse racing back. 1,000 jobs have already been created. These are good-paying jobs. Then we have all the outside entities, the Harrows, the MGMs. So let's get to casino gambling and start with Joe. How does this play out here in this 2020 General Assembly?
Okay. First of all, I support gaming in Virginia, but you cannot give a gaming license to every entity because they want it. You have to vet them, and you have to proceed carefully. An expression that I've adopted recently that I really like is, if you want to go fast, go slow. All right? So, with regard...
What? That's so opposite of you.
No. Think about this. if sometimes you rush in, and we're seeing that sometimes in some of the bills coming through the Democratic House caucus, you're rushing in with all the, because you have these ideas percolating in your brain, and they're not vetted carefully enough. I'm just saying that it's important to tap the brakes now and then. Now, with regard to gaming licenses, listen, we can't have 10 casinos in Virginia or 5. Do I think 2 is appropriate? Probably. But with regard to what you just mentioned a moment ago, while I'm going to listen very carefully to all the people that are presenting their positions to get a gaming license, consider Rosie's. They and Colonial Downs. Colonial Downs was shuttered. All right, it was a beautiful facility that was shuttered for 6-7 years, and Rosie's Colonial Downs came in and invested $300 million, and they did it. They took a risk. And they have revitalized New Kent County, Charles City County, parts of South Richmond. They've created almost 800 jobs.
1,000.
1,000 jobs. And now all of that would be for naught if somebody else got a gaming license, for example, a casino license in Richmond. It's just fair. I'm a businessman. I understand taking risk, and credit has got to be given to Rosie's for taking that risk 2 years ago. Do you follow me? So let's see. Well, I'll listen to the different folks, but if a gaming license is going to be issued in Richmond, I think priority needs to be given to that company that took the chance, invested $300 million.
And created 1,000 jobs.
Yeah.
But wouldn't the compromise be, and we'll get to Amanda, you give the Pamunkey Indians, Southeast Virginia, you give them the Norfolk facility. They just made the deal with the city. They've been trying to get this for ages. McAuliffe recognized them. They get Norfolk. They get that license. Rosie's Gaming gets Richmond, and then the other states up for bid. That seems to me a compromise. No, Amanda.
So, I mean, I'm going to be transparent with you. I am not for. I think we need to look at other industries to invest in. I don't agree with corporate subsidies. In fact, I've got a bill that would create a pact that would say that Virginia is not going to take all of its taxpayer money that should be going towards roads and infrastructure and be sending that to Dominion, millions of dollars.
What's this got to do with Dominion? This is a
I'm getting there
bill.
too. But we have to look at corporate subsidies that are being sent and used to entice businesses here. I'm generally not in favor of bringing casino and gambling to Virginia. I don't think it attracts the types of jobs that we want to bring. And so I'm looking to diversify in other areas like cybersecurity.
What's that got? A job is a job. If you go to MGM Grand right now in the People's Republic of Maryland, 1 mile from Washington, D.C., any night you go there, half the cars have Virginia plates. You go to Dover Downs like I did 2 weeks ago. It's one of my favorite places. 1/3 of the car, Virginia plates, and it's 5 hours away. You go to Charlestown, West Virginia, where I've been many times, over half the cars are Virginia plates. That money's just going to them. Why wouldn't we keep that money here? What does this have to do with, this doesn't do with subsidizing. People are going to gamble, and you want to legislate morality, and they just go over the state line. How's that make sense?
Well, I mean, we can agree to disagree. We don't have to agree on 100% of the issues, but that's generally where I fall on that issue. Is pretty consistent with my voting record.
All right, so you're going to vote no. Let's get to... I have to deal with somebody out there with a New York Yankees hat. See, they do this to aggravate me. This guy has been parading by me the whole day, pointing at his Yankees hat just to aggravate me because they spend billions of dollars on my players. I'm tired of the Yankees, Joe. Where are we? So let's get to bookmaking. Mark Siggles has a bill where you can bet on your phone, football, basketball, whatever you want, just like many other states have. Lots of revenue comes. Again, you're not going to stop it. Some people say it should be brick and mortar, but Joe, that's what my father did.
Listen, I have no problem with gambling in there. If we were back in the 30s, Amanda would be saying, "I don't want that liquor coming into this town." Listen,
She'd be no cars. You're going to put the horse and buggy business.
Right, exactly.
The blacksmiths will not have a job.
Listen, you go out to Colonial Downs. It is a family atmosphere out there. Kids are out there with their parents. They've got beautiful equine. Those animals are gorgeous. The facility is splendid. There's no seediness whatsoever. It attracts, in my opinion, a very good element. And the horse industry in Virginia has benefited greatly from that. We had 15 days last year. I went out once or twice as a guest out there and was just amazed. They're going to do 30 days this year. And here's a key. That's a loss leader for them out there to put this on. But they want, in order to attract the horse industry outside of Virginia and get those folks to bring their horses into Virginia, you got to have those big purses. So they're doing that. No, I love that industry, and you're right. You're not going to legislate and tell people you can't gamble. And as you said, I'd rather those taxes come into Virginia than they go to our neighboring sister states.
Once the Supreme Court said that any state could open up and take gambling on football, basketball, baseball, whatever, then you have to react to that because it's just going to go. It's going to go somewhere else. And the problem I've got with Chap Peterson's bill, which is brick and mortar, is, that's just the way my father did it. Like he went to the OTB, and when I grew up in New Jersey, you drove there. Today you want to do it on your phone. You want to bet on your phone. That's where the money is. That's where the prop bets are. I don't do prop bets, but that's where the money is.
I don't understand that language.
Well, that means that you're betting live throughout. You have access to make your bets on your phone in real time. Now I don't do that. I bet lines and games, but a lot of people will bet, are they going to get a first down? Who's going to score the first touchdown? How many passing yards is somebody going to have? That is what the industry shows, is that's where the money is. I don't do that, but I'm 61 years old, so I'm old school, Joe, but a lot of the younger people want to do that now. But
Amanda,
I just don't think I think it should be mobile and regulated by whomever, the lottery, whatever, and you go on from there.
Amanda, I'm going to give you a tip if you ever go to the gaming tables on how to get very, very wealthy, okay? You watch what I do carefully. You study what I do carefully, and you do the exact opposite, and you're going to make money. Because there's nobody,
everybody loses, but it's entertainment.
It's exactly. That's why I look at it. Have some entertainment.
A casino except for Trump in Atlantic City, no casinos ever went broke. That was the only one.